And we are live. This will be a very special edition of DT Live. This is Christmas Eve Live. So, today, of course, is December 24th, Christmas Eve. I actually got together with my family. We typically get together on Christmas Eve rather than Christmas Day. So, earlier this afternoon, I got together with most of my family and we exchanged gifts and ate and had a grand old time. And now I'm home this evening and I thought, why not do something on the channel? Spend a little Christmas Eve with my Linux brothers and sisters. For those of you that are hanging out in the chat, let me know how the sound levels are. If everything's good, or if I need to adjust anything, also let me know about that. Anyway, we got a few people here in the chat. Smo says, first, I don't care about that, but was just searching the channel. Notice you were about to go live in 20 minutes. Yeah, kind of an impromptu live stream. I'd actually thought I was going to do this earlier today. I'd kind of planned this out, but I didn't want to commit to it, so I didn't send out a notification earlier, because you never know, with family events, if you're going to get tied up or not. So I wasn't for sure if I was going to do anything this evening, but I'm glad I made it here. Rocco, Big Daddy Linux Live's also in the chat. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, Rocco. That sound is good. Sounds fine. Sounds good. Mr. GFY. How you doing, sir? Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to each and every one of you, including you, Renzik. Also, Happy New Year. Looking forward to 2019. 2018 wasn't so bad. Maybe 2019 will be a little better. Let's hope so. I had a better 2017 than 2018. 2018, not going to be a year that just stands out. Like looking back on life, I'm not going to say, wow, 2018, what a year. Yeah, sound is good. All right, well, this evening I've figured, I haven't done one of these, live streams where I basically do a live Q&A session or do anything. I don't do live streams that often on my channel. Sometimes I do those Zoom free and open chats, but rarely do I do something solo live. Not anymore. I used to do them all the time in the early days of the channel. I kind of miss it because this sort of show is kind of my strong suit, to be honest. Just flying by the seat of my pants live on YouTube by myself. Again, kind of my strong suit. Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to download, well, I've already downloaded the ISOs. I'm going to take a look at a couple of recent Linux releases on the channel. Here, I'm going to take a look at Mabox 18.12, probably a distribution most people have never heard of, but I actually took a look at Mabox about a year ago on the channel. I thought the distribution was dead, but wouldn't you know it, they just released a new release just a couple of days ago, and I'm pretty excited about it because I love the old Mabox that I reviewed. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm also going to take a look at Fatdog64. Fatdog64 is based on Puppy Linux. I don't know anything about Fatdog64. When I take a look at this in a minute, this will be like the very first time I've ever seen Fatdog64. Don't know anything about the distribution. Same thing with Mabox, actually. This will be the first time of looking at this particular version of Mabox, but I do know what I'm getting into a little bit with Mabox. Later in the show, I think I'm going to discuss, 'tis the season to give. We're going to discuss, the end of the year drives that a lot of free and open source projects are going to be having, as far as trying to raise money. You're going to, have a lot of Linux distributions and a lot of free and open source software projects asking for money, asking for donations. If you got a few bucks, I strongly urge you, especially the products that you use, give. Yeah, it really makes a difference to some of these projects. Usually like every year, toward the end of the year, the KDE guys usually have a big push, especially Kden Live, I know, is always trying to raise money toward the end of the year. A lot of them, for some reason, toward the end of the year, they're trying to get that last little bit of donation, probably because of fiscal, tax reasons and whatnot. But usually a lot of these projects, these last couple of weeks are really pushing for and asking for donations. And I strongly suggest all of us, including myself, give a few bucks to especially the stuff we use all the time. Like in, my personal daily use, I use things like Kden Live, which I just mentioned, things like Audacity and GIMP. And, I could not do something like this channel, this YouTube channel, all the videos. Without those products, I could not do what I do. It makes sense for me to help them out a little bit. You know, I'm not a programmer, so I can't help them in that aspect. But you know what? I can give them a few bucks, maybe, hopefully. Some of you guys will give some of these projects a few bucks to where they can maybe hire more programmers. All right, yeah, catching up with the chat a little bit. We got a few more people here. Mark Yates, how you doing, sir? Bob Grimes also showed up. Yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody. Dan Kelly, Jingle Bells. Jingle Bell all, yep. Gian, thanks for everything, Derek. Merry Christmas, long life to Linux. Yeah, long live Linux. Yeah, Bad Wolf, Mabox. Woo! The best Manjaro open box ever. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I'm excited about Mabox. We'll get into that. There's a few other, like, Arch-based open box distros out there. Some of them good, some of them, okay. But I thought Mabox was great. So I'm really excited that it's back to life here. Steven Anderson, Merry Christmas to you, sir. Ansem, Merry Christmas. Yep, and Drew, Merry Chrysler and Happy Volkswagen. Okay. Yeah, MX Linux is wonderful. Yeah, the latest MX18 is fantastic. I really liked MX17 before that too. Yeah, MX18 is out. I actually did a little bit of a video, a quick first look of it just a couple of days ago. MX17 I've had running on my mom's laptop for a few months. I mentioned that in my MX18 review. So, love MX. Yeah, Chris, Merry Christmas to you. Yep. Good to see you. Now, thank you, Mr. GFY, for the super chat. Here's a few bucks. Jack and Coke for Christmas. Well, I haven't been drinking earlier today. I usually don't like drinking until later in the evening if I'm going to have something. But I did pick up a 12-pack of beer. I'm not going to drink a 12-pack this evening, but I'll drink, 4 or 5 of them. And tonight's drink is Modelo. I love Modelo. Modelo Especial. In the can this time instead of the bottles. Usually I'm drinking out of bottles, but I don't know. I hadn't drank beer out of a can in many, many, many months. So I just, for some reason, I felt like picking up a 12-pack of cans. Most of the beers I drink are usually like imported beers. Usually they're not offered in cans. A lot of the English beers, a lot of the German beers, that sort of thing. Yeah, dang. I feel like they rushed it. You feel like they rushed MX18? No, I guess, Mark, you've been having some problems with it? Like I said, I haven't played around with it much. Played around with it a little bit in a virtual machine. I haven't put it on one of my physical drives yet, although I am planning on doing that. May actually put it on one of my laptops. Like I said, MX17 ran fantastic on my mom's laptop. Still is running fantastic on her laptop, so I may put it on one of mine. Yeah, is Modelo open source? Yes, this is free and open source cerveza. They GPL'd it, so you're good to go. Yeah, Feliz Navidad. Yeah. I had a Shinerbach Christmas special beer. Yeah, Shinerbach does their Christmas special. I remember they did one last year. I'm not sure how long they've been doing the Christmas specials. Alright, well, let's get started since I got a little bit of stuff planned here. I'm not sure how long it'll take me to get through some of this. But tonight I'm going to take a look at the recently released Mabox Linux 18.12. It was just released. Mabox, Manjaro-based, open box edition. I thought the project was dead. Turns out the one developer of that project, like a year and a half after the last release, just released a new release. So it's, again, back from the dead, which I think it's great. When we check out Mabox here in a minute, you guys are going to see why I think this is one of the best open box Linux distributions out there. I'm also going to take a look at Fatdog64, their 800 beta release. I don't know anything about Fatdog64 other than it's based on Puppy, so it's probably one of these really light, really minimal live distributions. Probably runs entirely in RAM, so it's going to be one of those kind of distributions. Also, again, we're going to talk about, 'tis the season to give as the year comes to a close. so many free and open source projects are going to ask you for help, please consider giving. Then, of course, as always, with the chat, I'm going to do a Q&A with you guys. You've got questions. I might have answers. If I can't answer something, you guys know I'll just fake it. I'll pretend like I know what's going on. And then, of course, I'll have some closing thoughts. Of course, wishing all of you Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Quickly back to the chat. Yeah, Rocco, thanks for the super chat. Thank you, brother. Merry Christmas. Toasting with some hot cider. Very cool. Yeah, Mr. GFY. DT, I know you use VirtualBox a lot. I've been playing with Unix, specifically made to be used with VirtualBox. Check it out. I might actually check it out. That sounds interesting. Yeah, Chris Kelling, thanks. Thanks for the super chat. You're very kind, sir. Gift for you because I finally got all my computers upgraded to Fedora 29. Fedora 29 was great. I'm actually on Manjaro right now making this live stream. I still have Fedora 29 installed. It works great. I could have done this stream from Fedora 29. I just didn't have all the overlays and OBS and everything set up over on the Fedora drive. But Fedora 29 is fantastic. I easily could live in Fedora and do everything I do, no problems. Been very impressed with Fedora. Very impressed. Yeah, Bad Wolf. I love Mabox since the first release. Open box done right. I agree. Yeah. Yeah, the DOS boss. Hi, DT. How you doing, boss? Yeah, I love Manjaro. Only used it for 2 weeks, but I decided to give Windows a chance. You decided to give Windows a chance. That's interesting. I think you should have gave Manjaro a chance. But if you have to use Windows, you know, I understand. Yeah, downloading Mabox now. Yep. Are you using OBS? I do use OBS to do all my recordings, both the pre-recorded stuff and the live streams. If I was only doing like a distro review and all I needed to do was record my desktop, I could use something like Simple Screen Recorder. I have made videos in the past where I use Simple Screen Recorder just to record my desktop, but I use OBS for everything these days. It's just very powerful. Fantastic program. The only thing with OBS is there are some features missing in the Linux version of OBS that are present in like the Windows version, which is unfortunate because OBS is a free and open source project. It's free and open source software. I wish they would treat the Linux client more as a first-class citizen, where it seems like they focus a lot of their energy on the Windows client, which I don't have a Windows machine, so yeah, he's a better mind than Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates. Who are we talking about here? That's a better mind than Bezos or Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. Wow. I'm not sure who Mark Yates was talking about, but that is some serious praise for somebody. Oh, okay. You're talking about Run with the Dolphin as far as MX Linux? Okay, I agree. Dolphin is great. Wow, that's high praise. So, yeah, Dan Simmons, thanks for the super chat. And Merry Christmas. Hope you and your family have just a fantastic holiday. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Same to you, Ansem. Appreciate the super chat, buddy. Yeah, the DOS boss, you are doing good. Oh, good to hear. Hope everybody's doing great. So, hope it's a good Christmas for everybody. Hope everybody got to spend a little time with family. Hopefully everybody got, you know, a decent meal, or maybe if those of you that are doing something with the family on Christmas Day, have a nice meal, nice relaxing time with family. This is actually a rare 2 days off for me. I get today, Christmas Eve off, tomorrow, Christmas Day off. And this, what makes this really good for me is this is the end of the Christmas season. Most of you know I work in retail, which, you know, in retail, starting sometime in like October, you start getting ready for Christmas. You start getting all this extra inventory, working longer hours, and it gets worse and worse and worse all the way up to Christmas. So, this was it. I was actually scheduled off today. This just happened to be my normal day off. You might hear fireworks, by the way, going on outside. Somebody's firing off some fireworks, but didn't have to work today, and Christmas Day we're closed, so that's the end of the Christmas season. It's all back to normal starting Wednesday. So hopefully I can spend a little more time with you guys here doing more stuff on the channel. I know especially like the last 3 months, I've just been tied up with so much stuff. You guys, I get emails and toots over on Mastodon, you guys asking me, hey, could you make this video on this or do this or that? And it's been hard for me to commit too much time to the channel, unfortunately. But like I said, hopefully I'll have a little more time. Now, the early part of the year, as far as retail, very slow, All right, Mark. Yeah, quite frankly, this YouTube channel is one of the highest quality around. Appreciate that, Mark. You are kind, sir. Mark, of course, has his own channel. I don't know if Mark, if you've posted anything lately. I know you had 3 or 4 videos on your channel that I'm subscribed to. You have checked out. Yeah, head of the MX Linux project. Yeah, Dolphin's great. Yeah, cool guy. Smart guy. Funny guy. Really like him. Yeah, it's already Christmas Day for me, Tony. Yeah, because of time zone. Some of you are already there. I've got about 4 more hours before I get there. Yeah, Mr. GFY, your New Year's resolution is to take some online programming languages. That's not a bad New Year's resolution. I wouldn't mind learning some programming myself. I know enough programming to be dangerous, Did a lot of web programming, building websites and stuff in a previous life. I know enough, PHP to be dangerous, a little JavaScript, of course, HTML, CSS. I know how to play with, MySQL databases and things like that. As far as other stuff, I know enough Python scripting to be dangerous. I can do some Bash scripting. That's about it. Nothing too many people would be impressed by. Alright, so why don't we go ahead and fire up Mabox. Let's get this party started here. So I've got Mabox. I'm not going to go through the install of Mabox. I actually did install it. I'm just not going to do it on camera. The installs, you never know how they're going to go. Are they going to be quick? Are they going to be fast? Is the install going to fail? So I actually went through the install off camera. It's a 5-minute install, your standard Arch or Manjaro install. It uses the Calamares installer. The Calamares installer, very easy to use. You hit OK 3 or 4 times, you're done in about 5 to 10 minutes. So, nothing really to see with the installer. Uses the LightDM login manager. And this is logging into Mabox Linux for the first time after installation. So we get welcome to Mabox. We get this little greeter here. We're using the kernel 4.19.8. I guess the version number for Mabox 18.12 is codename Borch. That is an interesting name. I like it. Borch. Yeah, kind of dig it. Anyway, we can rank and choose mirrors. I guess go ahead and set up, Pac-Man. Go ahead and rank and sort. Get the fastest mirrors for, updating the system and downloading software. I'm not going to do that because that's going to really suck up some bandwidth and it's going to cause the stream to buffer. So anything with the package management in any distro, but if I start doing massive updates of like these VMs on the stream, it's going to cause the stream to suffer a little bit. So I don't like to do too much. Like I'll do a quick sudo apt install htop, if this was a Debian system, because it just takes a couple of seconds to install a package like that. But if it's like a system-wide update that's 300 packages and might take 10 minutes, it's going to be 10 minutes of the stream just buffering like crazy. So I won't do anything like that. But anyway, I'm just going to close the greeter here. And Mabox 18.12. Now, again, I took a look at the previous edition of Mabox, which I believe was released in like the summer of 2017. It's been a long time since Mabox was around. As a matter of fact, when I looked at Mabox early 2018, like very early 2018, because it had been so long since the last release, I thought Mabox was already dead a year ago. So I really wasn't expecting a new release. The good thing is that Manjaro, since Mabox kind of died, Manjaro now has a open box community edition. You know, Manjaro has its main editions, which are the KDE edition, well, the XFC edition and the KDE edition. But they also have a number of community editions that use things like, you know, Mate, and I think they have a Deepin edition, and Budgie, and you know, things like that. They have like a dozen community editions. i3. Now they have an open box edition. Somebody created a Manjaro open box edition, but it's just okay. You know, it's Manjaro with open box on it. It's configured a little bit and it looks nice, but it wasn't Mabox. Mabox, as you guys can see, is actually very polished, well put together Linux distribution, nice artwork, nice wallpaper. I like the Conky. The Conky actually has all our keyboard shortcuts. And some of these you would need, for example, Super F to open the file manager. You wouldn't know that without the Conky, so the Conky makes sense to include by default. Grow and move Super Alt arrows. Let's see how that would work. Okay, so that's how we resize our windows. That is neat. I wonder how to close with the keyboard. I'm just going to close with the mouse, but I'm assuming there would probably be a way to kill a window. Yeah, Super K for X kill. So if I Super F again to open the file manager, Super K to do an X kill, you see I have a skull and crossbones on the screen. If I just click the window, it would kill it. Let's see, Super plus M for a run command. Okay, and that launches, it looks like that's Rofi, so I could, you know, type a program. Ranger is on the system. Not sure if Ranger will launch or not. Yeah, it will in our terminal here. The Ranger terminal file manager. Anyway, just playing around with Mabox a little bit. Now at the top we have our panel. I'm not sure what panel they're using. It's probably the Tent 2 panel. Just looking at it, I'm guessing, I'm not sure. We have this Mabox logo, which launches a menu. Wow, you can actually type to search. I'm not exactly sure. Again, if I was typing Ranger or HTOP or whatever, well, this is actually a really nice menu system. I don't think they had a menu system in the previous one, but it did not look this good. This is actually really, really neat. Now, this is not your standard right-click menu that you get with OpenBox, which also has all your programs and everything in it. A lot of OpenBox distros, what they'll do is they'll have your right-click menu, and then in the panel, they'll have an icon. But clicking on that icon, all it does is launches the right-click menu again. You know, it would just do something like this again, but this is a completely different menu. And then also the launchers here, we have the show desktop icon, I guess for hiding things that are already open on your desktop. So if we open the file manager again, clicking that would hide it, clicking it again would unhide it. I have a terminal icon here, web browser, assuming we're probably, well, I think the last version of Mabox I looked at used Pale Moon. I don't believe they were using like your standard Firefox. But this one is, which is good because I don't like things like Pale Moon and Waterfox and all these other random browsers. Just give me straight Firefox. Firefox 64.0 in this case. I think most people, if you don't give them Firefox or Chrome or Chromium for the open source one, you don't give me one of those three browsers, then whatever else you're giving me, I'm always going to uninstall and install one of those three browsers, right? I don't want Midori, I don't want Epiphany, I don't want any of those browsers. They're just no good. HexChat has also got a little launcher here at the top. So this would be for connecting to IRC channel. Now I did click on it, but it didn't launch. That might be a bug. Actually, the VM might have froze. Doesn't look like anything in the VM is working. I'll give it a second, see if it catches up. I may have to kill this VM. That is interesting. I'll go back to the chat for a second while I wait. Yeah, so Mabox, never heard of it. Yeah, most people haven't. Like I said, I took a look at it on the channel a while back, like a year ago, and even then nobody had ever heard of it. And then the project, it seemed like a dead project. So, but it has some really neat tools. which I haven't even got into, some of the really neat customization tools that they have that make it kind of unique for an open box distro. Because what I'm going to have to do right now is I'm going to kill this VM. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and do that. You guys won't see it on camera, but I'm just going to kill the VM and restart it. While I'm waiting on it to restart, I'll keep reading some of the chat here. Yeah, Mark 8 says, Big Daddy, I'm loving all the biddles. Yeah, Big Daddy Linux Live is great. Yeah, check it out every Saturday night. For those of you that are not subscribed to Big Daddy Linux, definitely subscribe. Big Daddy Linux is one of the reasons the Linux YouTube community is so special. Why it's such a friendly place. A lot of that has to do with Rocco and Big Daddy Linux Live. Yeah, Toss is great too. Yeah, Total OS today. You guys should definitely check out Toss. Yeah, the DOS boss. Joe Collins gets a lot of hate. He tries his best, but we all mess up. I don't get the Joe Collins hate. I don't follow his channel that much. I've been subscribed to it for a while, and I've watched a few of his videos. I don't watch everything he puts out, but yeah, I don't understand like why anybody would hate the guy or troll the guy. I know it's happened in the past. I've seen some of the controversy. You know, he'll put out a video where he starts talking about how people have been hating on him or trolling him. One thing is you got to be thick-skinned. And, you know, if you're going to do anything in a public fashion, whether public speaking or doing YouTube videos or what have you, have a little bit of a thick skin, you know. Some people are just going to try to troll you and, you know, just try to get in your head. It's kind of like, you know, being around wild animals. You know, you never show fear. You can't show them any fear, right? You show them fear, they're just going to tear you apart. And that would be my advice to somebody like Joe Collins if he's affected by that sort of thing. Never show weakness. Yeah, Mabox is already polished and well made. Yes, it is. I lost my place a little bit here in the chat. Sorry, guys. Let's see. DistroTube. Don't forget about Unix. Maybe give it a look on the stream. I won't take a look at it on this stream because I'd have to download it. It would cause the stream to buffer in a major way for me to have to download it either through HTTP or through a torrent. Yeah, too bad we can't get the Derek from DistroTube to show up. He would be a great addition to the panel. Yeah, hopefully some of my Saturday nights will be a little more free now. That's what I'm thinking, anyway. Matter of fact, I can't swear to you, but I think this next Saturday night, I might be around, Rocco. So I will definitely, if I don't join you guys on camera, I'll definitely swing by and at least catch some of what's going on, watch it myself, maybe interact with the chat. The chat on these streams, your streams, my streams, everybody's streams, sometimes the information you get in these YouTube chats is as good as what you get on camera. Also, the comments on, you know, some of my videos. Sometimes the real hard-hitting information is from you guys in the comments. It's really what makes the YouTube community great. Yeah, Mark says, I don't hate Joe at all. I like the guy as a person. He just isn't built for YouTube. Well, I mean, I don't know about that. His videos are great. But I would say I have seen a lot of people, especially the people that come and go, as far as they start a YouTube channel, do it for a few months and, you know, leave because they get angry, they didn't like the way somebody treated them. I will say that's a flaw, but that's kind of a human character flaw in general. I mean, that kind of thing is going to follow them throughout life in anything they do, not just YouTube. So it is something they should try to correct. But it's easier said than done. You know, so. All right. Anyway, I launched the VM. I killed the VM, relaunched it. It just took a few seconds to launch it back up. But for some reason, when I tried to launch HexChat before, it just would not launch. Now it launches fine. I'm not sure what that was about. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and quit it. Oh, did it freeze again? Anyway, yeah, everything seems to be working now. Okay, I'm going to take a look at the right-click menu because that's kind of where I know where most things in Mabox is. I'm not too familiar with this menu here. So I'm going to right-click, and in the right-click open box menu here, you have quick links to the terminal, the web browser, the file manager, and of course the run launcher. Most people have those kinds of things ready in the very first right-click menu. Then you have your standard categories: accessories, development, graphics, multimedia, network, office, settings, system. If I go to, wow, did it freeze again? Yeah, this is kind of strange that I'm having such issues in a VM with OpenBox. I never have OpenBox, it is using compositing, I can tell, because of the shadowing around the menu, so it might be maybe Compton is the problem. It's hard to tell. But I don't think I can do anything without X killing this again. Boom. Well, we may not be able to do too much with Mabox if that continues. What I might do this time, though, is, I don't know, kill the compositing and see if that works. It's strange. I never have a problem with Arch-based distros in a VM. I've reviewed a million of them on the channel. I normally don't have problems with OpenBox either, so it's kind of strange. Let me make sure that I see the problem. The problem is my host machine. You guys know I'd been running Fedora. And I logged into Manjaro to do this live stream. Well, when I logged into Manjaro, I picked a kernel to log in with. Well, I didn't pick. It just automatically chose a kernel I know that doesn't agree with my VirtualBox here. All the VirtualBoxes are going to be kind of buggy with this particular kernel. The only way I could fix this would be to reboot the machine and pick the right kernel, which I'd have to kill the stream for a couple of minutes. That's unfortunate. But I think that's what I'm going to have to do. I think I'm going to have to reboot. Alright. Well, let's try it one more time. I really don't want to have to reboot. Back to the chat for a second. Yeah, it's the host machine that's causing the problem. The VM is fine. Like I said, I've never had a problem with a Arch or Arch-based VM as far as, crashing on me or freezing up like this is doing. Manjaro, it's Manjaro-based. You guys know I've run Manjaro for most of this year on my main production machine, so. Alright. I'm going to open up a terminal here, if I can. Yeah, I can. I'm not sure if this is going to help any. Again, most of the problem is my host machine, but I'm going to kill the compositing here in the VM, just in case that's causing any of the issues. We're just going to roll without any the shadowing effects or pseudo transparency and all of that. So we don't really need it. Anyway, under accessories, we have Clip It, which is our clipboard manager. It's already running, I think, up here. Click on the clipboard. And preferences. I normally don't use clipboards, but it's nice they include one by default. The VM has froze up. I'm going to have to reboot my host machine. So, until I log in with the proper kernel, I'm not going to be able to do anything with these VMs. So, I'm going to reboot my machine. It'll probably take me maybe a full minute, maybe 2 minutes to get back to opening OBS and starting this again. So guys, give me maybe 2 minutes. So let me open up a terminal. And sudo reboot. Guys, I apologize. The stream. Okay, guys. Hopefully that wasn't too long of a wait. So I am back up and running. Now, you guys will have to excuse me for just a second as I get back up and running here. Because I had to log into my machine here. Now I've got to set everything up again. I've got to get OBS, well, OBS is up and running. Gonna get my browser up and running again. For example, I had the live chat available so I could read what you guys were chatting about. Not a professional live stream at all. But then again, did we ever claim we were professional? Alright, actually that didn't take too long for me to reboot the machine, log in, and get everything set up. We're good. I'm back to where I was. I'm back to the chat for a second. Let's see if I can find, yeah, i3 is great. Somebody, yeah, Chaz. Yeah, i3 is awesome. Then I get a lot of LOLs. That might have been about the time that I sudo reboot. Obviously that killed the stream when I did that. Yeah, stream pixelated for me. Yeah, it might be now. Might refresh the stream. Everything's good on my end. So if it's if the resolution has dropped down, refresh it, and it'll probably be back to 1080 now. All right. For those of you wondering what was going on there, when I logged into Manjaro just to do this stream, yeah, I have several kernels installed on this install of Manjaro, and the kernel it chose by default is not properly configured with VirtualBox. VirtualBox just doesn't work when I log in with kernel 4.18, I think it was. I had to go back and choose another kernel. And now VirtualBox is going to work just fine. So now the right-click menu, if I want to play around with stuff. Let's see, by now it probably would have froze up on the other kernel. Now everything seems to be working. So back to the right-click menu, accessories, clip it. This was the clipboard, calculator, the fantastic calculator with the horrible name. Calculator. Has a scientific mode. It really has everything you need in a calculator. Great program. Again, kind of a retarded name though. Why do you name calculator? Mabox menu. Now that is going to be a custom launcher for this. That is going to be Mabox menu. If I click on it here in the accessories menu, again, it launches that menu. Nitrogen, well, I clicked show desktop. That's not what I wanted, but Nitrogen is installed here. And I guess it handles our wallpapers. Not sure what kind of wallpapers we have to choose from here. It looks like 1 million of them, though. A lot of wallpapers in the wallpaper pack. I'll cycle through a few. These are actually really great nature photographs here. Really like these. That is a very nice kind of wintry photo there. I could run that for a little while. I think this was one of the older ones in a previous version of Mabox. I remember seeing that one. Let's see what else looks interesting here. That's a interesting little photo. Or it's abstract art, actually. It's not a photo. We got some really loud fireworks going on outside. So if you hear anything that sounds like gunfire, it's just somebody popping fireworks. Anyway, I'm going to go back to this kind of wintry kind of scene here. Oh, did it freeze again? Now I know I'm running the right kernel this time. Yes. So, well, no, everything's working. I think Nitrogen itself has frozen up though. Okay, so it's not the VM, it was just Nitrogen. I wonder what's the problem with Nitrogen. Well, the VM is definitely a little buggy. But again, I think all those earlier problems were, again, my host machine. I think other than that was definitely nitrogen kind of lagging out on its own. It is a VM, but I gave this VM two cores of my 6-core CPU and 4 gigs of RAM, which for an open box distro, more than enough. Yeah, GNOME is also leaner now. Yeah, GNOME, they're trying to fix a lot of those memory leaks. I know the Canonical guys were really working hard on the Ubuntu version of GNOME, because apparently there was a problem with it anytime a window got close to that kind of Unity panel, Unity-like panel. It really sucked up a lot of memory, but I think they've worked it out and they've been able to fix some of those problems as far as Ubuntu's version of GNOME. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I thought you use i3 gaps talking to the DOS boss. Yeah. Matter of fact, somebody, maybe one of the folks in the chat was asking me about could I make a video on how to get i3 gaps installed on Debian? Because Debian, of course, being a stable distro, older distro, the last release of Debian was, last year, and they can't get i3 gaps installed because it's not in the repos. You'd have to compile it on Debian. It's kind of a pain, I guess. He hasn't been able to work it out. He was asking, could I work it out and maybe do it on video? And I don't know, maybe, but I'm not sure why you need i3 gaps in Debian or anywhere. But if it's not in the repos, just install regular i3. You don't need the gaps. The gaps don't do anything for you. I mean, you see them in screenshots, I guess, to make a pretty screenshot. Like if you go to Reddit and go to the Unix porn subreddit and you see all those i3, with the huge gaps between the windows. I mean, it makes a nice screenshot, but as far as being functional in any way, doing anything for you, nobody that uses a tiling window manager puts these giant gaps between their windows, even though you can. Nobody does it. I don't do it. Just normal workflow, because it doesn't benefit you in any way. It's completely negative. Basically, you're taking screen space away. For what reason? It's a tiling window manager. You want as much screen space as you can, so you have more room to fit more windows. So, anyway, that was just a random thought there. You don't need the gaps. That's all I'm going to say. Right, development, as far as the development category here in Mabox, Genie is installed. Genie is a plain text editor. It's really more of an IDE. Fantastic plain text editor. I install Genie on most of my systems. Genie, I guess the code name for this version is Gorgon, which was built on it's like maybe June of 2018 or March of 2018. Under graphics, we have View Noir, which is our image viewer, lightweight image viewer. I've used it on some of my minimal installs with things like Qtile, Xmonad, OpenBox. Multimedia, we have Audacious, your standard kind of lightweight music player, Audacious. Really nice music player. Free and open source software, of course. MPV is installed. Pulse Audio volume control is here. The volume icon is going to be this applet here. Not sure if it's just a custom program they built for Mabox. Have some network stuff. Avahi is here. HexChat, of course, which was giving us some problems. The network manager. And, of course, Firefox. Office. We don't have any Office programs, really. We have our PDF viewer. Settings. AR&R is here. AR&R would be great to, if you have a multi-monitor system, which I do. I have 3 monitors. Instead of just seeing the one monitor here, I would see 3. And I could arrange the layouts, because on like my triple monitor system, sometimes the displays are out of order. And I have to use a program like AR&R to rearrange them in the correct order. All right. And also under settings, customize look and feel, that's going to be LX appearance. This is where we can change the theme. So I'm going to open up the file manager. Let's see if I can resize the file manager. All right, it is using Bunsen-HE, I guess, for the theme. Probably something they borrowed from Bunsen Labs. We also have Adwaita available to us. Adwaita Dark, Beam, That is a kind of a strange, kind of greenish color. Bunsen Blackish Remix. I think that's the one I kind of liked the last time I used this. And there's so many. Actually, it's this one that I think I used last time. Mabox Super Disc. It was really nice. The icon theme. I think they had a Mabox Super Disc icon theme. They had something that was green. I think it was this one. Vertex Maya. I think that's the ones I did. Anyway, I thought that was a kind of a nice, kind of light theme with some green icons. If I had an appropriate Tint 2 panel at the top and maybe a wallpaper that matched. Not a horrible theme. Anyway, let's close out the file manager here. Back to settings. We have something called Kickshaw here. I'm not sure what that is. It doesn't have any about information. Clicking about in the menu throws up an error. But it has something to do with OpenBox because you see menu, pipe menu, item, separator. So this is going to be a graphical way of you editing the right-click OpenBox menu is going to be what this is. Unfortunately, it looks like it's kind of buggy. At least when you click on the about information in the menu, it kind of wants to bug out. Also under settings, okay, this is what we want to look at, the Mabox Control Center. So Tint 2 settings, that's going to adjust our panel here, so we definitely want to play with this. So this basically is various Tint 2 themes. It's going to give us a preview. If I just click on one, like Bunsen Bottom here, the second one, well, we still have something loading. Okay, click on Bunsen Bottom, and click the check mark maybe. Click yes, and now it changes to this theme. Wow, that's actually a really nice theme. I kind of like that. Oh, it keeps going back to the default theme. Okay, I see. I double click on the one I want to change to, then it gives me please wait loading, and then it changes. And then we're able to edit it. So normally to edit the Tint 2 panel involves you editing a plain text file. Pretty simple to edit, but they have it in such a way that you can do it graphically. So if I wanted to change the background from this gray background, I could click on this and, you know, change the color. I'm not going to do that, but you can change background, the panel, I guess, orientation, panel items, launcher, taskbar, sys-tray, clock. Anyway, it's a GUI way of configuring your Tint 2 panel. So that's something you don't see in a lot of OpenBox distros, even like, you know, the really nice ones, things like Bunsen Labs, Arch Labs. They have some interesting, you know, programs too that help you out, but this is really, really neat, this Tint 2 control. OpenBox Configuration Manager, this is the standard OB-Conf. OB-Conf is the name, OB-CONF. And this is how you change the OpenBox theme, which is the right-click menu and the border around your windows. So I would want to change this to match the GTK theme. The GTK theme that I chose in LX Appearance was Mabox Super Disc. I need to also change the OpenBox theme to Mabox Super Disc. And now this is the, let me close it out. This is the OpenBox theme to match the GTK theme. Again, the OpenBox theme is the right-click menu and the border, the top panel, and the border, the frame around the window. And then the GTK theme, of course, is all the stuff in the middle of the window. That's sharp, right? That's kind of sexy. That is not bad. I love that theme. They had that theme in the previous version, and I went and got it off their GitHub page. I think they were hosted on GitHub. I stole it. And that's what I used for all my OpenBox installs. I edited the colors a little bit, but for those of you that always wondered, you know, about my OpenBox configs, the theme and stuff I was using was me playing around with the Mabox Super Disc theme. Again, I just configured it a little bit. Changed the colors slightly. I think I made it a little darker as far as the black color. But I used the same green, I think, in it, this kind of bright green. Anything else we want to point out? I'm going to go back to the control center just in case I missed anything else. The Mabox styler. This is neat too. Well, I guess the Mabox styler is just a control center. I guess so. Well, it opens up a separate window, but it looks like the same window, doesn't it? It says Mabox styler, but they're the same window. But I have different options. I have options for the tint to panel, editing the conky, choose conky, so we can change conkies. By default, the ones that are up are conky shortcut gray and conky MB text, but if I wanted to open up another one, maybe hit OK. And did it add any more conkies? Yeah, it added this one. Matter of fact, that's not a bad looking conky. I'll keep that one and I'll get rid of the others. Anyway, just really neat tools. A lot of this you would normally have to open up plain text files and configure yourself. Normally conky and tint to and openbox. You're configuring this by opening up, you know, these config files in a plain text editor like Nano or Vim. And you know, Mabox is really neat because it has all these easy to use GUI graphical tools. So that is just a quick look at Mabox. Anyway, I thought it was a fantastic Arch-based, Manjaro-based, open-box Linux distribution. It's the kind of distribution I would run, to be honest, if I was looking for a quick, easy way to get into OpenBox, Mabox. Not a bad option. Very light on RAM. If I go back to the conky for a second, RAM usage, 288 megs is what it's using right now, and that's with a lot going on. The conky, we have plenty of stuff going on in the systray. Still, 288 megs of RAM is very light. We could easily get this under 200 megs of RAM, just closing a few things. So, I'm going to try to quickly catch up on the chat here. I know I kind of rambled on about Mabox a little bit. Yeah, Arco or Arch Labs. Both are great. I like both distributions. Arch Labs, I really love their openbox. Arco, I looked at their awesome window manager version and their BSPWM version, you know, 2 tiling window managers. Really liked what Arco is doing with those tiling window managers. Most recently, I looked at Arch Labs. They have a BSPWM version. That was very nice. As far as one to go with, pick one. Both are great. I think you'd be happy with either one, to be honest. The difference, though, is the install is a little different. Arco has so many different versions. They have a very easy, like, graphical install. I don't know were they using Calamares or... Anyway, they have their main version that's just a very quick graphical install, 5-minute install. And then they have some more advanced stuff, command line installs that, you know, involve you pulling stuff down from GitHub and running these shell scripts that... Some of this stuff can take like an hour and a half to get fully installed. It's much more like a regular Arch install. So Arco has varying degrees, depending on how comfortable you are as a Linux user. So you do need to take that into account. Yeah, you watched my video about Arch Labs. It looks great. Yeah, it is. Arch Labs is great. Arco is great. Artix, somebody just mentioned Artix. Artix is great. Parabola, I don't know. I need to check out Parabola. It's one of the Free Software Foundation endorsed distros, so it's completely free software. It's not something I could run as far as like put it on my main machine and live in it. You can't. I can't use entirely free software. I wish I could, but I have to have some proprietary software like the NVIDIA drivers, right? I have an NVIDIA card, so already I can tell you I can't just use the free drivers. I have to have the proprietary drivers. Yeah, you watched Luke's video about Parabola? I'll have to check that out. I'm assuming you're talking about Luke Smith. I watch a lot of Luke's stuff too. Yeah, he's great. Drew, I can't wait for high school. That's where the nerds are at. Okay. You'll find nerds at every age level though, Drew. Yeah, it looks nice. Yeah, Mabox, I'm assuming. Yeah. It's like a nice distro still. The custom tools, though, that I showed you, the styler where you could configure tint to and conky and all that stuff, I'm sure the previous version had all that stuff on GitHub. Even if you didn't want to use Mabox, you could probably go get all this stuff off their GitHub page anyway and put it on whatever distro you want to use OpenBox on. Yeah. Before, when I said check it out, I just meant the Whonix site, not try it. Oh, yeah, whonix.org. Okay. Mr. GFY, yeah. Yeah, I made a post tonight on another video I had success with. NVIDIA is crashing and burning, says Chris. Yeah, but it's still the best thing going. I know AMD is getting a lot of love these days, but still the NVIDIA cards are just better for the price, dollar for dollar right now. I mean, AMD's catching up. It's not there yet. I wish it was. So for now, I have to deal with proprietary drivers. Yeah, the Bitcoin mining's killing the GPU market. Yeah. Okay. Not where I wanted to go. All right, I'm going to take a look at Fatdog64. Now, this should be very interesting because this should go a little quicker. Because with Fatdog, I have no idea about this distribution. Plus, the kind of distribution it is, I don't think there's going to be much to discuss on camera here. Going to be one of these very minimal, very lightweight distros, live distro, although I think you could install it if you wanted to, but most people that would use this would use it as a live distro. So, boots up very fast. I mean, it booted up before I knew it was even gonna boot up here. I'm waiting for it to load here. Starting X. There we go. That is Fatdog. We have a live environment. We don't have a network. Oh, there we go. Just took a second. Now we have internet. That's it. You would throw Fatdog on a live USB stick. Fatdog, I believe, runs entirely in RAM. I think Puppy does too, which Fatdog is based on. I think Tiny Core, which I reviewed on the channel, did the same thing. You know, these are these very stripped down, minimal, almost nothing distros, right? They're just designed to be very, very light, minimal, fast. Again, most of them are designed to be live images. Although I think there is an installer for Fatdog. If I go through the menu here, I'm not exactly sure what desktop or window manager they're using. I get a right-click menu, and this might be OpenBox. Or it might be Joe's window manager, JWM. I think that's the default window manager in Puppy. Fatdog might be using the same, JWM, Joe's window manager. Very similar to OpenBox, how it looks and feels, so you could easily mistake OpenBox with JWM. OpenBox is much more configurable, though, much more mature of a project. All right, if I go through the menu here, System, we have Calibrate Touchscreen. Don't have a touchscreen. G-Smart Control, that is for hard disk and SSD health inspection. These would be great for, again, you're running it as a live USB stick, having maybe some system rescue utilities on the system. GRSync for synchronizing files, of course, with rsync. Setup, we have the Fatdog control panel. And I don't have obviously VirtualBox guest editions here because these very stripped down minimal distros, you're not going to have anything like guest editions, so there's no reason for me to even fool with trying to get those. I probably couldn't even get them to build, so I'm not even going to try. But what I can do is this very small screen resolution I can zoom in. It's going to look kind of crazy and a little distorted, but there you go. So you can kind of see what's going on. All right, the Fatdog control panel here. We have localization tab here where we can configure the clock, time zone, locale, keyboard. We have a desktop tab where we can manage the event manager, manage desktop startup programs, so your auto start programs. We can edit the default programs, display properties, and you're probably wondering, wait, startup programs, edit default programs. This is a live disk. you change all of this, it's just going to lose it the next time you use it. Fatdog does have persistence. It's not going to have persistence in this VM the way I'm using it, but if you installed this to a USB key, you do have persistence. So it can remember what you're doing. Sound, we have some sound options. Default sound card, also mixer, also equalizer. No pulse audio. You wouldn't expect pulse audio on something like this though. Network, change host name, Bluetooth, etc., etc. System, hardware and clock again, date and time. GSL APT package manager. G-slapped, I'm guessing is how they would pronounce that. Looks like Synaptic. Probably a really small, minimal Synaptic alternative, but it looks like Synaptic. If I search for a program, HTOP might already be installed. It is. If it wasn't, I just click on it, and then hit the checkbox up here, and it would install it. Again, looks like Synaptic. I don't think it is Synaptic, but a Synaptic-like program. SFS Manager. I'm not sure what that will be. If I click on it, we're downloading something. Choose your download site. iBiblio, which is the site that hosts the Fatdog64 ISO that I downloaded. We got kernel sources. Wine. I'm gonna fool with wine. Fatdog64 save file tool. Cups for, of course, setting up a printer. Fatdog64 login manager, of course, user manager, so we can set up users. Again, because it has some persistence, you can create users and set up permissions and stuff. Under the Utilities tab, we do have the Fatdog64 installer and also the UEFI installer, depending on which way you need to go. Also, there's the Fatdog64 Remaster Sys live CD. Gparted, of course, is included. You got to have Gparted if you're going to use a live USB key as far as a system rescue. You need a partition editor. You have NTFS backup, partition image, GRSync again. HTOP is here. Let me open up HTOP. And this will tell you all you need to know about distros like Fatdog and Puppy and TinyCore. RAM usage, 130 megs. Think about that for a second. 130 megs with a graphical environment. And I've got things going on. I have a panel. I've got a sys tray and notification stuff. I've got some smallish programs on the system. 131 megs. Yeah. You're not going to get anything much lighter than that. I can tell you that. I can often get these lightweight window managers like OpenBox, Fluxbox, JWM under 200 megs. Getting them down to like 100 megs is tough. 130 megs. Wow. That's impressive. All right. Let's see. So many of these kids completely fail at the basics. I had a great head coach. Says Mark Yates. Okay. What are we talking about? Looks like, oh, you're talking about basketball. Okay. Yeah, Lamer Linux. How you doing? Merry Christmas, Lamer. Good to see you. Yeah, how DistroWatch said it's OpenBox. DistroWatch says Fatdog is OpenBox. It may be. Let me open up a terminal. Let's see if we, how about find OpenBox. No, where is OpenBox? Yep, OpenBox. There is the binary here, /user/bin/OpenBox. So OpenBox is installed. So that's probably what we're using. Just to make sure that it's not JWM. Where is JWM? JWM is also installed, so it may be JWM. Both of them are here on the system. No, that's interesting. You know what? There wasn't a login manager, was there? I think no, not in the it just automatically put us in this live environment. Yeah. It would make sense for this to be JWM though, because JWM has a panel by default where OpenBox does not. Either way, like I said, OpenBox and JWM are very similar window managers. They look, feel, the same. Configured very much the same way. OpenBox, again, is just the better window manager, to be honest, though. You can do a lot more with OpenBox than you can JWM. But JWM is a little lighter than OpenBox. OpenBox is not heavy by any means, but JWM does tend to be a little lighter. Let's see, there are some 14-inch laptops on eBay, and they have $90 shipping. If you pay somebody $90 to ship you a laptop, that's insane. Matter of fact, if you buy a laptop, especially if it's like a newish laptop, if you're going to pay $300, $400, $500 on a laptop, it probably they should just include free shipping, because they're not going to spend more than $10 to ship it to you anyway. If they're a reasonable eBay seller, usually shipping's just included in the price. You know, selling somebody a $300 laptop and then throwing a $90 shipping charge on you, that is somebody just trying to straight up rob you. They're scamming you. Yeah, Fatdog is Slack based. No, Fatdog is Puppy based. But yeah, Puppy has a Debian base and a Slackware base. I don't think I'm certain this is Debian based though, because it was using that GSLAPT package manager. One way to figure this out is just try to use apt, right? Apt update. Man not found, or I bet it's apt get. No. Maybe it is GSL apt. No. What package manager are we using in the terminal here, Fatdog? I hate to have to pull up the documentation. We did have the GUI package manager, though. Also, let me check the kernel. Sometimes that will give us a clue what we're using. Fatdog64, kernel 4.19.10. Yeah, it doesn't mention. Sometimes it'll mention that it's like a Debian kernel or Slackware kernel. I guess I could pull up the distro watch page, though. We are going to get you an answer on that. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's the Debian base, but we will get an answer on that. So, see if I pull up distro watch here. Fatdog64. Just say it's based on, well, it says it's independent, formerly based on Puppy. So it used to be based on Puppy. Now it's its own independent distro. So I guess it's using its own repos, probably its own package manager, which I'm not sure. Definitely not using apt, so. Yeah, 130 megabytes and my 2000 PC is alive now, yep. The one thing about Fatdog, even though it's so light and minimal, is you guys notice the name of this distro, Fatdog64. It's a 64-bit image. So you're not going to get it to work on that 32-bit hardware. But 32-bit hardware is like ancient now, right? I mean, you're talking machines at least 15 years old or older now. You know, probably if we're talking 32-bit. Yeah, GSL APT is for Slack. Okay, so it probably is Slackware. Well, it was originally based on Puppy's Slackware-based edition, but now they claim they're independent. So, but yeah, Slackware, they have kind of their own kind of apt sort of front end. Yeah, DistroWatch says it's independent. Yeah, that's interesting if it's independent. So that they must be maintaining their own repos and things like that. That's hard to do for a small distro. Yeah, maybe they're basing off Linux from scratch. No, yeah, could be. A lot of independent distros, that is why they're independent. They'll build their system with something like Linux from scratch, and then have their own customized package manager that they built. Throw that on it. Yep. Yeah, it's Slackware based, always has been. Okay. Now we know. Again, my very first time looking at this distro, Fatdog64. Knew nothing about it before a few minutes ago. Downloaded the ISO earlier today just because I thought it was interesting. You know, it's based on puppies, really light. Live image, has some persistence. Sounded like something interesting. Yeah, any chance you ever do a LFS adventure? Probably not. Takes a lot of time, and it would be a lot of video that I would have to edit because it would take so much time. I'm not sure that many people are actually interested in LFS. I mean, raise your hand. If I make videos about LFS, how many of you guys are actually going to try to install LFS? You know, actually find it useful in any way? Raise your, nobody. I just don't think, I don't think it would be a good use of my time, to be honest. I wouldn't want to do it just as a side project, like personally, as far as I'm just going to do a LFS install because I think it's fun. I don't have that much time these days. I'm sure it would be fun, but as far as doing it on the channel, I just, there are better guys for LFS stuff. You guys know the YouTuber Das Gregor? He does really good LFS videos. I would suggest checking him out. But LFS, you can't live in it. Like, you're not going to install LFS and then try to live in it. You just can't do it. It's just an educational tool. You just go through the LFS instruction manual, through the install. The install is going to take you a week or two in a VM to get through it. And it's mainly just for educational purposes. It's just one of those things, just to say you did it. Yeah, can I give you an update on the Twitter impersonator? Rocco, the Twitter impersonator has never talked to me. He's not engaged me in any way. He's definitely not a fan of the channel, my channel as he claims. A fan of my channel obviously would have asked me ahead of time or contacted me since he knows I'm angry, would have done things completely differently. This person was up to something nefarious. He was really just trying to impersonate me, really. And then when I put the video up, he quickly changed the bio to say, it's just a fan page. After I called him out. As far as Twitter has not been helpful at all. I can't really get them to respond to me. Until I send them personal identification, Twitter won't even talk to me, which is strange. They're not asking the other guy for his identification. They're not asking him to prove he's me, but they're asking me to prove that I'm me. But that's Twitter for you. I'm not exactly sure what the other guy thinks he's going to get, though, because he got beat up over on Twitter. I mean, everybody kind of trolled him a little bit, which I kind of expected after I made that video, that a lot of the folks that were still hanging out on Twitter would beat him up a little bit. I don't feel bad for him. But I'm surprised the guy just didn't. If he was a real fan, he would just quit using all my artwork. He would have not chose that Twitter handle, DistroTube. Or he would just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you back this Twitter handle since, you don't want anybody impersonating you. I know you don't want to be on Twitter, but, or I'm just going to keep the handle, but I'm not going to do anything on the page. Like, we could have worked something out. Again, if this was a real fan. This guy is up to something else, though. He clearly was trying to do something. If he was, and he wasn't just like posting my latest videos. He was posting stuff like some of my old videos, which is kind of strange. It's also a bot that seems to be posting. Like when I finish processing this video later, it's going to appear on his Twitter feed. So he's definitely using bots to post. Yeah, is there a YouTube channel that covers Linux audio, especially making music on Linux? There probably are. I don't know of any offhand, though. I'm not a professional musician as far as in life now. I do have music degrees, and I am a trained classical musician, but as far as doing music on computers, Linux in particular, not something I got into. It's not my trade now anyway, so. But I would bet you could probably find a lot of Linux audio stuff. Yeah, pointless to spend days and weeks in a VM doing LFS or Gentoo. Well, Gentoo doesn't take. Well, I guess it could take days, but it definitely doesn't take weeks. Gentoo's a pretty quick install. Quicker than it used to be. On modern equipment, you'll get Gentoo installed in a few hours. On most equipment. If you got really good equipment, you can have a Gentoo installed in an hour, you know. LFS, yeah, it's a lengthy process. As far as doing it in a VM, you kind of have to do LFS in a VM. Again, you're not going to live in it. You could put it on physical hardware. You're not going to live in it. Plus, you need to do it in a VM. That way you can actually read through the documentation and all that. Doing it in a VM is a lot easier. Yeah, lamer. I can't use LFS because LFS I got because college and work. I guess you don't have the time because of college and work. Yeah, it's strange about the DT impersonator guy. I would agree. Everything about that situation is strange. It was strange before I called him out, but it was really strange after I called the guy out. Again, I don't know the guy. I mean, I know almost everybody that like hangs out on my live streams, that hangs out on other YouTubers' live streams. Anybody in the Linux YouTube community, I know all of you guys, right? So I don't know this guy. I don't know his name. Don't know his identity. Yeah. Horace, can you treat us with some trombone music? Not on the live stream as far as me playing. It would be very loud in the small room. Got some pre-recorded stuff of me playing I could share with you. Yeah, I'll do videos on this build I got going. I'm going to have a playlist for custom builds in 2018, if not 2. That's Mark Yates. Okay. Rocco, thanks for the stream. I'm heading out. Merry Christmas to you, Derek, and to everybody else. Merry Christmas to you, Rocco. Thanks for hanging out. All right. Yeah, that Twitter page tweeted the video calling him out. I agree. That it's a bot. Yeah, it's strange. I make a video about I have a Twitter impersonator, and then he immediately puts it on his Twitter feed. Yeah, so it's clearly a bot. You know, no normal person would do that unless you're an idiot. All right, let me kill this Fatdog VM here. Fatdog, like I said, looks like an interesting project. Don't know much about it, but kind of cool. So, the next thing I just briefly wanted to talk about, since it is Christmas, is, again, it's the season to give. Everybody's spending just massive amounts of money. You know, Christmas is really just overly commercialized. It's all about how getting us to stores, getting us to spend money we really shouldn't be spending on stuff we really don't need. Sometimes to exchange stuff we really don't need with other people who are giving us stuff that they don't really need, etc. So, you know, all this money is being spent around Christmas. Wouldn't it be nice to give to some of your favorite free and open source software projects? Again, it's that time of year. The end of every year, especially, a lot of these projects are really pushing. They're having these fundraising drives. They want to get more donations to fund their projects. So I'm just going to highlight. Now, we could probably discuss hundreds of these, but I'm going to discuss some big ones that maybe you might find that you want to help. I find these particular programs that I'm going to discuss like insanely important. Like, where would the world be without Tails? Tails, which is the Amnesic Incognito Live system. It is a live Debian-based system that allows you to browse the internet anonymously, to send email anonymously, to do instant messaging anonymously. Think about all the places in the world where something like Tails is basically the only way to view the internet, to get the information you need, to chat with the people you need. It is used by journalists. It's used by whistleblowers, human rights defenders, domestic violence survivors, and just regular privacy-concerned citizens. Tails is probably one of the most, if not the most important Linux distribution on the planet. That's not an overstatement. Tails might be the most important Linux distribution on the planet as far as the purpose it serves. I know many of you have a USB key out there with Tails on it. I usually keep a USB key, at least one with Tails on it, just in case. Anyway, I'm just throwing that out there, Tails. If you find that useful, it's a good one to throw a few bucks at. Another one, again, if I'm just sticking like some insanely important programs out there, how about the Document Foundation, LibreOffice? Yeah, I shouldn't have to explain that one. Most of us use LibreOffice. We know LibreOffice. They're trying to raise a few bucks. Give them a few bucks, right? Mozilla. I shouldn't have to explain this one either. Mozilla, of course, we're talking about Firefox, and we're talking about Thunderbird. They do more than just Firefox and Thunderbird. They have a lot of services now under the Mozilla banner. They are really one of the big leaders in free and open source software. Maybe the biggest. Mozilla, LibreOffice too. They're big in that. Where would we be without Mozilla? That's something to think about. That's why I threw that on there. Another one, it's not a project as far as a Linux distro or software, but how about the electronic, the EFF here? Let me see if I can get to the home page. This is the donation page, but I wanted to get to the home page to show you the Electronic Frontier Foundation, the year-end challenge, 7 days left. So already they're having this, this is the last week of the year. They're having a 7-day drive. Electronic Frontier Foundation, again, reading the blurb at the top here. The leading nonprofit defending your digital privacy, free speech, and innovation. So they are the ones out there really defending digital privacy. They're the ones, standing up against all these crazy things like DRM and, all that crap. So you got a few bucks, give them something, right? You can donate once, monthly, annually, $1, $2, all the way up to your super major donor, $2,500. That would be great if somebody could give them that. But their goal, they're trying to get to 2,222 donors. They're already up to 2015 here at their end of the year drive. So the EFF, a lot of people love the EFF, including me. I think it's a worthwhile project to check out. Just quickly, yeah, Chris, thanks for the super chat. Yeah. Merry Christmas, and don't forget to cluck the thumbs up. Yeah, all you guys watching the video, if you're finding this entertaining, informative, yeah, give me a thumbs up. It really does help the channel. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. All right. Yeah, Firefox is open source. Yes. Is that a serious question? Yeah. You said since when? Firefox has been open source from the beginning, isn't it? I'm sure there's some certain parts of things that go on in the browser that are not necessarily Mozilla parts that are not open source. But as far as Firefox, the browser, yes, it's free and open source software. That's why it's in everybody's repos. If it was proprietary software, it wouldn't be there. Why Chrome is not, like, you won't find Chrome in Ubuntu's repos. You'll find Chromium, which is the open source implementation of Chrome. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, so much crap out there. We're expected to shift through all of that since society is designed to have us not think. Just press a button and say thank you to instant gratification. Try not to be so negative this Christmas, So you guys want to donate some money. Again, you know, if you get, most of us just waste money anyway. I mean, I go and spend $5 at Starbucks in the morning. You know, could I once a month give $5 to my favorite Linux distribution? Of course I could. Of course I could. Even a one-time donation, even if I was just broke, you know, between jobs, didn't have much money, I could probably send somebody a one-time donation of $2 or something, you know, just to give them something. So Linux distros, if we're talking specifically Linux distributions, I will say most Linux distributions make it kind of harder than it should be to donate to them, because most Linux distributions, the people running them, of course, are developers. Developers, they're a strange bunch. They're all about programming. They're a little bit socially awkward, and they usually don't know much about business. You know, they don't know. They wouldn't even know how to raise funds. They know they need funds, but they don't know how to raise funds. Like most Linux distributions, shockingly, don't even have a Patreon. And I don't, these days, you know, that's kind of where most people are at as far as people wanting to subscribe, make as far as in donations. Very few Linux distributions actually have a Patreon, surprisingly. There's a few out there. I'm going to mention some. And the only reason I mention these is because, again, I know these distributions have a Patreon account because, well, I'll discuss these three here. I know they have a Patreon account because I'm actually subscribed to them. Elementary, I think, is a fantastic project. I love supporting Elementary. I think it's doing good work. I think it has a chance to be something special, because I think a lot of people coming over from Windows and Mac would find Elementary OS just, you know, fantastic, right? You know, it's professional looking. It's just beautiful. It's easy to use. It's intuitive. So I support Elementary on Patreon. Even though I'm not an Elementary user, I like what they're doing. Ubuntu Budgie. Love Ubuntu Budgie. I have Ubuntu Budgie on one of my laptops. I like the project. I like Budgie as a desktop environment. I think it's, for full desktop environments, it's probably the best one out there. And because of what's going on with Solus these days, I'm not sure how much Solus is putting into the Budgie desktop anymore since Ike left. Ubuntu Budgie, though, has a fantastic team behind them. They have a Patreon. I donate to them every month a few bucks. Sabian, I've always been a big fan of Sabian. It's a Gentoo-based Linux distribution. Sabian has not had a Patreon account up that long. Several months back, just briefly, somebody had contacted me that is affiliated with Sabian. I forget who they were, what their role, but they were like, you know what, Sabian really needs to raise money, but we don't know how. And he actually contacted me because I'm on YouTube. He was a fan of my videos, and I said, well, you know what most people do these days, you're looking for donations, is you set up Patreon or PayPal. Have you guys thought about Patreon? It's a good platform, easy to get up and going, and if you just let people, in the Sabian installer or the Sabian homepage, let them know you have a Patreon account, you'll start getting donations right away. People will be throwing money at you. And shortly after that, they did set up a Patreon account, thankfully, and they are making a little money. So those are 3 distributions I know have a Patreon for those that are interested in maybe donating to some Linux distros. Some other ones I'm not subscribed to, but I'm pretty sure have Patreon pages because I've seen them around. I think Mint has a Patreon. I think Ubuntu Mate has one. But you'd be surprised. Most Linux distributions, you search for them on Patreon, they don't have a Patreon account. Most Linux distributions, if you go to their webpage, most of them don't even have like a donate link anywhere on the page. They don't have a PayPal account set up. Like I said, most Linux distributions are really bad at asking for donations. Yeah, Mark, I'm not negative. You live and learn, but I'm really enjoying this stream. Just trying to shed some light on things. Yeah, let's see. Go back a little further in the chat, some of what I missed. Yeah, Firefox is pre-installed on a lot of Linux. Is it pre-installed on most? Probably. It's either Firefox or Chromium. They're the big open source browsers that you'll find. Of course, if we're not counting the garbage browsers that nobody wants to use, things like Waterfox and Pale Moon and things like that, Epiphany and Midori. But yeah, Firefox and Chromium are open source browsers that are usually installed on most distros. Yep, I use DuckDuckGo when I don't trust Google for the search. Yeah, I still use Google as far as the search engine. I probably shouldn't. The only reason I'm not too concerned about it is because I have an Android phone, and because of that, I know Google already knows everything about me anyway. They know everything that I'm doing on my phone, so using DuckDuckGo really doesn't get me away from them. Yeah. Hanji, thanks for the stream, DT. Gotta go. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, I find DuckDuckGo gives me a more honest search result. Cool. Thanks everyone on the stream too. Yep. Yeah, it's been a great group hanging out here in the live stream. Really appreciate you guys hanging out. Again, especially on Christmas Eve. I know a lot of you guys probably had a lot going on today. Appreciate you hanging out with me for a minute here. Yeah. Yeah, DT, Parrot has a Patreon. Thanks, Mr. GFY, for pointing that out. So Parrot Security OS has a Patreon. I wish, again, most distros don't. I wish every distro had a Patreon account. And I wish after they set up their Patreon account, they let everybody know. Put it on your home page. If you have a graphical installer, most graphical installers have that slideshow and the Ubiquity installer and the Calamaris installer. Put a link to your Patreon in there, or at least let me know that you have a Patreon. If I'm sitting there for 10 minutes anyway watching the installer slideshow, might want to mention it. Hey, you want to donate? Here's a way. Most Linux distributions do not use that installer slideshow properly, in my opinion. But again, these are the people that build these distros. Again, they're developers, right? They're programmers. So they're not business oriented. They don't have that kind of business mindset. A lot of them are just really, really bad at raising money and managing money. We saw that a few months back with Slackware. The Slackware dev, Patrick Volkerdine, was practically broke and didn't know what he was going to do. He really needed money. He didn't even have a clue how to go about raising money as far as things like Patreon and PayPal and things like that. People really had to help him out in getting that sorted. Hopefully he's all right now. I haven't heard anything about it lately, but eventually he did get a PayPal link set up, and I know a lot of people out there threw some money at him. Slackware is way too important of a Linux distribution for us to just let it die. It's the oldest Linux distribution still under development, and it's a really nice Linux distribution to boot. So yeah, Ubuntu needs Patreon. Yeah, well, things like Ubuntu and SUSE and Red Hat. Of course, there's commercial corporations behind those. But yeah, I don't mind donating to their free and open source distros. Ubuntu is really a community distro, even though it's got corporate backing. Same thing with Fedora. It's really a community distro, even though Red Hat's kind of behind it. But I wouldn't mind giving those distributions money if they needed it and asked for it. But, I would probably prefer to get, if I'm picking and choosing, I would prefer to, real community distros, give them some money. Debian, Arch, things like that. Or again, I mentioned Slackware. I know, again, Patrick Volkerdine, he was really needing money. There was some serious concern that he could no longer continue to keep, developing Slackware. So those of you that are big fans of Slackware might want to consider that. Anyway, I didn't want this to be, like a Jerry Lewis telethon or anything, but again, I thought the topic was really important, that particular topic. So, yeah. Just something to think about. What I'm going to do is typically, this time of year, I'll set aside a little money, I set aside, I don't know, $50, $100, you know, of donation money. I'm going to do one-time donations. I'm going to take this money, set it aside, and I'm going to figure out a few projects to split this money up. And, you know, as far as what's important to me. So, yeah, I'd suggest, you know, you guys do that. Again, it doesn't matter, even if it's just a few bucks. If all you think you could make is, you know, you got $20 that you could set aside just to send one-time donations to 2, 3, 4 projects, maybe split it up $5 each between 4 projects. I think it's a good thing. Yeah, Temple OS. Yeah, why are we still talking about Temple OS? Temple OS was not that interesting, to be honest. The only reason we talk about Temple OS is because the creator of Temple OS, now he was interesting. Yeah, Peter, the silly thing about the Slackware dev, if he would have set up some donation system earlier, people would have donated enough to keep it going. Yeah, that's the thing. These Linux distributions, again, they're run by programmers, right? These people, they don't know really how to build communities. I mean, that's not what most of them do. You know, like big distributions, they'll hire somebody to be a community manager. They don't know how to deal with people. Again, they don't know things about as far as business aspects, you know, raising money, managing money. Usually all they want to do is just code. That's all they want to do. So yeah, red pill versus blue pill. The choice is yours, and so is the consequences or benefits therein. Are we in the Matrix? Well, if we're in the Matrix, let's see. Do I have the Matrix? There you go. There's some C Matrix for you. All right. Yeah, Carl Schneider's in the house. Give till it hurts. Merry Christmas, Carl. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Yeah, it did feel good to give Parrot $10. I was actually going to mention that. Even if you think you don't really have money to give, you probably got a few bucks. When you give that money, you're going to feel so much better. Also, it's going to feel like you really are a part of that project you gave to, right? That Linux distro that you use, you gave them a few bucks, you feel like, yeah, you know what, I did something, I contributed something. Most of us don't contribute anything. Most of us don't contribute code, documentation, support. We don't do anything for the distros we use. Just giving them a few bucks makes it feel like, okay, now I've actually done something. Now, you know, I don't feel like a complete jackass for using your product for free and never giving anything. It makes you feel so much better. Absolutely. Good point, Mr. GFY. Yeah. This guy had a lot of time on his hands over being schizophrenic. Yeah. The Temple OS guy, what was his name? Terry? I forget his last name. I'm sure somebody's going to mention it here in a minute. Yeah, DT, review UNet boot CD sometime, other than Linux. We might could do that. Kardashian Linux. I didn't know there was a Kardashian Linux. I probably won't check that out. Yeah, Carl. Yeah, to you as well, brother. Yeah. Thanks, Carl. Isn't George Soros behind Firefox now? Is that the case? You say behind in quotes. I mean, that's some conspiracy theory stuff, or? Yeah, Terry Davis. That was his name for Temple OS. Yeah, rest in peace, Terry. Yeah, it does more harm than good because people that took the genuine red pill are not now calling out people for their BS that also claim to have taken the red pill. The plot thickens. Wow, we're getting deep in red pill, blue pill. I like elephants, and God likes elephants. That was a quote from Terry, I'm assuming. Yeah, yeah, he had a lot of colorful quotes. Really colorful quotes that are not kosher here on YouTube. A lot of Terry Davis stuff we can't get into here. Anyway, I still got a C matrix going here. Let me close that out. Anyway, Qtile here, Manjaro, again, for those of you just arriving. I've been using Fedora on and off for the last 3-4 weeks. Logged into Manjaro to do this stream, and for those of you that weren't here at the beginning of the stream, I had a major snafu because it'd been a while since I logged into Manjaro. When I logged in, I picked the wrong kernel to log in with, and VirtualBox was not set up to use that kernel. So when I started the stream and started reviewing Mabox earlier, there were some issues. I do apologize for those that were here at the beginning. Hopefully, when YouTube processes this video later, it all is just one continuous video, because I had to reboot the machine. I got back pretty quick. I don't think it took me even 1 minute to get back. But if I take too long, YouTube sees this as two streams, right? It'll have that beginning part, and then we'll have a second part, and that would be unfortunate. Anyway, I'm gonna kill the stream here in a few minutes. You guys got anything else you want to discuss? I'm all ears. I'm gonna drink a little bit of my Modelo Especial. It's been sitting here for about 2 hours. Got a little warm on me, but again, we had a lot to discuss here. Took a look at Mabox, Fatdog. Talked a lot about giving money. Of course, we've been doing a lot of Q&A, reading the chat. This was a fun stream. I don't do these kinds of live streams again that often, at least not in the last, 3-4 months. I haven't really done one of these, and I like doing these. I think you guys like me doing these. I think this kind of, me flying solo live, again, I think it's one of my strong suits. I do this kind of video well, I just start the camera and I just start talking, and I can talk 2 hours, no problem. So I might get into doing more of these. Yeah, I want to take a look at Bedrock Linux, says Keegan the Tennessean. Yeah, I've never looked at Bedrock either. Might be something I need to check out. Yeah, Peter, DT, kudos to what you do for the community. Thank you, Peter. And kudos to all of you. I mean, you guys are as much a part of this community as I am. Again, like these videos, what you guys discuss in the live chats, what you guys comment on the videos, is just as important as anything I say on camera. Yeah, Merry Christmas, Andrew. Thanks. Thanks for another good one. P.S. I've gone full bore VIFM instead of Ranger. I meant to get to that VIFM video last week, Andrew. I told you I was going to make one. Crazy week last week at work. I didn't get that particular video made. I'm off Christmas Day, tomorrow. I actually plan on recording a video discussing VIFM tomorrow. It will be released sometime tomorrow, VIFM. I'm putting that out there. You guys can hold me to that. I promise you're going to get a video about the VIFM Terminal File Manager. For those of you wondering, I'll give you a quick preview. That's VIFM. Looks a lot like Ranger, yeah, kind of, but it's a dual paned file manager, right? Got file manager here, dual pane. They work independently of each other. If I want to, I can move from the first pane to the second pane with just a tab. Tab gets me over there. VIFM, as you might suspect, is all Vim key, right? Everything works like Vim. So you move up with H and or J and K. J is down, K is up, etc., etc. So if I GG, for example, I get to the top tab. Anyway, I'm on the second pane. I'm at the bottom here. If I GG, 2 G's, I get to the top. Now I'm all the way at the top. Shift G gets me to the bottom, just like in a Vim document. All the key bindings are the same. So anyway, I'm going to close that out. I don't want to discuss it too much because, again, we're going to have a video on that tomorrow. VIFM. Great terminal file manager. Might be my new file manager too. I've been using it for the past 2 weeks, and I think it's great. I thought Ranger was great too. Just think VIFM is nice. Yeah, somebody in the chat mentioned use NNN. NNN, people have asked me about that one too for a few months now. I've never looked at NNN, but saw Luke Smith did a video on it the other day. Watched a little bit of that video. Looks like a nice terminal file manager as well. Of course, we have Midnight Commander out there. We've got a few of these things. Why VIFM? VIFM is unique because of that dual pane nature of it, and it's unique because it uses so many Vim key bindings. So if you live in Vim, you'll find VIFM really nice. And some of you are going to say, well, Ranger uses some Vim key bindings too. Yes, it does, but not like VIFM. VIFM really goes kind of all in with the Vim key bindings. So. All right. Yeah, Carl, these are my favorite videos. Yeah. Again, I'm going to try to do more of these. And, you know, in some ways, I think I've kind of got away from doing some of the videos I'm good at. Some of the, like these live streams here, this style of live stream, I'm good at that. I don't do as many distro reviews as I used to. I know a lot of people love those. But again, we're about to start a new year. I'm going to have hopefully a little more time on my hands now that we've got past Christmas at work. So I'm going to try to get back to, you know, doing the things I'm good at here on the channel. Hopefully you guys will appreciate some of that. Maybe stop doing some of the things I'm not that good at on the channel. You notice I don't do any gaming streams. I used to do occasionally a gaming stream. Not really a gamer. I quit doing those. One thing I might quit doing too is, I haven't decided, but I might not do these Zoom free and open chats much longer. I may do some, of course, with my patrons. I mean, I'll still do, you know, because those guys, you know, certainly deserve that. But I may not do like a weekly free and open chat, you know, for those Zoom chats, like every single week, like I've been doing. They take up a lot of time, and you know, there's not that many people watch those things. Not that many people are interested in that kind of video from me. They would much rather watch a distro review or some kind of tutorial or something. You know, I'd get 10 times as many views on stuff like that. And it probably wouldn't take up as much time as what I spend sometimes on those 2-hour live chats, which really end up being more like 4 hours with the stuff I have to do before the chat and sometimes hanging out after the chat. Let's see. Yeah, LaTeX is, yeah, another topic. Probably not for me. I don't have much use for it. But who knows? Maybe I'll check it out one day and maybe we do some videos about it. I don't know. People have asked me about Emacs because I, you know, did a Vim tutorial the other day. And I plan on doing some more Vim stuff. Hey, why don't you do some Emacs? Well, I'd have to learn Emacs, right? I know Vim a little bit. I know enough Vim to be dangerous, so I can talk about Vim halfway intelligently. Emacs, I've never used Emacs. I don't even have the Emacs installed. You know, hey, make a tutorial on Emacs. Well, I can't do that right now, so it'd take me a while to get up to speed on Emacs. If I ever do, maybe I'll make a video on it, but it's not just something I'm going to make a video on. So. Yeah, for Linux noobs like myself, it is so hard to keep up with the software and tools on here because the names are so strange. Good point. Yeah, the names are weird. A lot of free and open source software especially, they have horrible names, like Calculator. At least Calculator, you know it's a calculator, but it's still a stupid name. Yeah, try PCMan-FM and Dolphin as file managers. Yeah, PCMan-FM is fantastic for a lightweight, fast file manager, a graphical file manager. Dolphin's good too, but Dolphin, if you're not running KDE Plasma, there's no reason to run Dolphin. It's too many KDE dependencies to install on something that's not KDE. Maybe LXQt, maybe, I don't know. Let's see. Yeah. And taking into account, smiley face. I'm not sure what that was about. Probably in response to something I said on camera. Emacs over Vim. Well, of course, right? Yeah, the Emacs fans would certainly say so. Yeah, Peter, I don't know Emacs either, other than that I have seen Luke use it. Yeah, Luke Smith, he uses Emacs. I thought he was a big Vim fanboy. But maybe he's played around with Emacs a little bit. But all the videos I've ever seen, like, as far as when he pulls up a text editor in the terminal, all I ever see Luke use is Vim. Yeah, you're right at starting to break the seal, my man. You're so close. I feel a lot of you are. Break the seal. Mark, I need a translator for what's going on here. I'm starting to break the seal. What does that mean? Yeah, mouse pad for plain text editor. Yeah, nice. If you would need a GUI plain text editor, mouse pad's fine. For GUI text editors, yeah, mouse pad. If you're already on XFCE, you have it. Just stick with it. Same thing with gedit. If you're already on GNOME, stick with it. Kate and KDE, yeah, if it's already there, just use it. You know, one plain text editor is just as good as the rest. It's a little bit differently when we talk about more powerful tools like Vim. Vim is a different beast, so. Let's see. Yeah. Finding out what's real and what's not. The fact my comments didn't freak many of you out gives me hope. Mark, you're starting to freak me out a little bit. Do I count? Because I don't know half the stuff you say. But then again, I'm on my halfway through my first Modelo, so. I want ARM to smash x86. I'm with you on that. I wish we saw more adoption with ARM. Yeah, the lamer. Have you been playing Ballistic Overkill? No, I haven't played Ballistic Overkill in 2-3 months at least. It's been a long time. But yeah, I mentioned I don't do gaming live streams anymore. I kind of got away from that. I wouldn't actually mind occasionally playing Ballistic Overkill with you guys, you know, Lamer and, you know, Rocco and Joe Panico, you know, all those guys. That we had some fun on those Ballistic Overkill live streams. Those were really neat. And those were interesting because, you know, it was more than just me playing the game. You know, there's other people in the game and, you know, we would chat about various topics, gaming, Linux, life in general. So some of those were interesting. Yeah, Eli. Hello there, Derek. Love your vids, man. Thanks, Eli. Merry Christmas. Is Mark drinking tonight? Good question. I was going to say, is he smoking, but... Let's see. Yeah, not on laptops. Well, what are you? Well, because of x86, because it's power hungry. Yeah. Yeah. Mark, I just took my meds. Okay. All right, guys. Well, we've been at it for about 2 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and kill the stream here. But this was fun. This was a fun way to spend Christmas. Hope you guys kind of enjoyed this. So, of course, closing out, I do want to wish each and every one of you guys that were hanging out here this evening Merry Christmas. We don't interact in any way before the new year. I want to wish, obviously, all of you guys a happy new year. I think 2019 is going to be a great year for Linux. I think 2019 is going to be a huge year for Linux because I honestly think Microsoft is going to make some big news in 2019. Don't be surprised when Microsoft buys a major Linux company like Canonical or SUSE or somebody, but Canonical. Watch out. So I'm expecting 2019 to be a really a hell of a year for Linux on the desktop, for Linux obviously on the server, but that Linux on the server has been, dominant for a couple of decades. But Linux on the desktop, on the laptop, and of course the mobile space, we're going to keep upticking. We're going to be on that upward trajectory. So I think we're going to see more free hardware in 2019. I would love for things like, Purism, the Libre stuff, take off, System 76's Thelio machines. We need more open hardware. That's one thing we do lack. Yep, reading the chat here. Yeah, Linux improves every year. Yeah, the distros improve every year, but the adoption, getting that out there to the masses, getting our message out there, changing hearts and minds, we kind of suck at that. Right. Yeah, Linux has been fantastic for a long time. It's just nobody knows about it. Not as many people know about it as I would like. Yeah, Windows may be open source. Maybe. Windows may cease to exist as we know it. Microsoft, their next operating system might be Linux based. That would not be a shock. Not like it would have been a shock a year ago, but the way Microsoft is now would not be a shock. Yeah, Microsoft, if they're going to buy a Linux company, they're going to buy, I would have said they want to buy one of the big three: Red Hat, Canonical, SUSE. Red Hat was just bought by IBM. I don't know if Microsoft could buy Red Hat now, but Canonical and SUSE definitely are possibilities. I think Canonical makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, Mark, I'm thinking possibly a personal channel on some of this stuff. That's not a bad idea, Mark. Actually, you're thinking about starting a new YouTube channel, for some of your stuff here as far as dispelling myths, opening eyes to some things. I'd watch it, honestly. Yeah, let me know if you ever do that. I actually would check that out, Mark. I found your Linux video, your tech videos entertaining. And your shave video where you did the, what was it, the Dollar Shave Club or something. You do make entertaining videos, Mark, so I do want you to definitely keep making YouTube videos. Carl, Linus Torvalds will become CEO of Microsoft. It wouldn't shock me if Microsoft tried to hire Linus Torvalds. They probably have in the past. And if Linus ever decided to leave the Linux kernel permanently, maybe he would consider an offer by Microsoft now that they've changed their ways a little bit. I don't know. Probably only if what he went to work on with Microsoft was open source. I'm sure Linus would never go and work on a proprietary project. Yeah, Microsoft's talking about making Windows open source or some parts of it. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for the super chat again, Eli. Appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, if you look into Windows Core, it sounds a hell of a lot like a Linux distro, yeah? Yeah, Harry's Shave Club, that was it, yeah. Alright, guys, yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and shut it down for the evening. I got to get to bed early so Santa Claus can come and bring me all his gifts. Alright. Of course, before I go, let me give a quick shout out. This show was made possible by Ansem, Carlos, Chris, David, Leor, Rob, Tony. They're my highest tiered patrons over on Patreon. They are the producers of this show. None of this would be possible without those guys. Also brought to you by all those fine ladies and gentlemen, all those names on the screen. They are the supporters of the channel. They really help out. None of this really would be possible without each and every one of those ladies and gentlemen. So I want to really thank each and every one of those guys. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year's. Again, everybody that was hanging out in the chat, Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. Happy New Year if I don't see you before then. Still in the chat, Alexander, Ansem, the DOS Boss, Dan Simmons, Drew, DViz, Eli, Hunter, Carl Keegan, Mr. GFY, Mark, Peter, Scott, Sim, Lamer, Tim, Tyler. Thanks, guys. All right. Peace.